After days of claiming his hands were tied and it was up to Congress to act, President Trump signed an executive order that will end the separation of families illegally crossing the border. CBS's Hina Doba has the details.
The executive order signed yesterday does not reverse the Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy. Those caught illegally crossing the border will still be prosecuted.
It's about keeping families together, while at the same time being sure that we have a very powerful, very strong border.
Children will no longer be separated from their parents. The president's about-face came after mounting pressure from all sides.
Ivanka feels very strongly, my wife feels very strongly about it.
But questions linger, like what will happen to the more than 2,000 children already separated. A statement from the Department of Health and Human Services says they are still awaiting guidance. And a 2-decade-old legal settlement says that children, even ones with their parents, are required to be released within 20 days.
This is very good compromise legislation that not only solves the child separation issue at the border, it also solves the border.
House Republicans have 2 bills they plan to vote on later today. Both would allow children to remain in the government's custody.
If they're then going to be placed in detention for an indeterminate period of time, that is not a good thing. That is not a good solution.
Senators say they need bipartisan legislation to fix the problems.
We may end up with separate bills, a Democrat bill and a Republican bill, neither one of which passes. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope we come together.
At a rally in Minnesota last night, the president repeated his desire to have a merit-based immigration system. Hina Doba, CBS News.
President Trump will meet with Defense Secretary James Mattis later today. The Defense Department is tasked with seeing through elements of the executive order. Also in this morning's headlines, the president says North Korea has returned the remains of 200 U.S. troops missing from the Korean War. President Trump made the comment during a campaign-style rally in Duluth, Minnesota last night. The move follows President Trump's historic summit with Kim Jong-un on June 12th. And check out this video from Pittsburgh. Bystanders helplessly watched as fast-moving waters swept away vehicles. From Texas to Pennsylvania, thousands of people are dealing with damaging flash floods this morning. In southwest Texas, residents had to be rescued by air and on the ground after as much as 14 inches of rain fell. 2 days of heavy rains in the Gulf Coast helped relieve a severe drought in Texas, but it came with a cost. The National Weather Service says abnormally dry conditions on top of rapid downpours made the flash floods inevitable. The system is now on its way towards the Ohio Valley and mid-Atlantic states. Flooding continues to be an issue here in Montana. Governor Steve Bullock issued a state of emergency for Lewis and Clark and Cascade counties, including the city of Great Falls. Take a look. The Sun River near Great Falls is now flowing at its crest of more than 9 feet. The river is expected to begin dropping later today. This isn't the first time residents have dealt with these conditions. In 2011, the Sun River experienced significant flooding. Many residents recall that flooding, but say this week has been even worse. Residents in Augusta, some 50 miles west of Great Falls, say the water has come down significantly, but flooding remains an issue. Water can still be seen on parts of Main Street, but water is no longer flowing down the middle of the road. According to Lewis and Clark County Disaster and Emergency Services, several businesses remain closed due to the flooding, and parts of the town remain isolated by road closures. Turning to court news, the coroner's inquest for last November's fatal standoff at the Billings Big Bear store enters its 3rd day today. On Wednesday, officers involved in the fatal shooting shared new details about the ordeal. Q2's Samantha Harrelson reports.
The officers on the stand Wednesday painted a picture of a tense standoff with a non-compliant suspect. They describe how throughout the morning their concerns grew as they felt the suspect, Frank Haft Jr., was baiting them and preparing for some sort of ambush. As Haft's family members watched on, each of the officers described how Haft opened up an emergency exit door at the front of the building, putting his hands out where officers could see them, but while officers began to prepare for an arrest, he pulled out a gun.
That to me just added and it increased what my initial thoughts were in the evening is that he's trying to bait us into something.
Shots were fired at the door to force him back inside the building. Following that, Sergeant Brandon Woolley spoke emotionally about the conversation he had with Chief Rich St. John about sending officers inside.
We were only going to take guys who were willing to, get hurt. I knew their families. and it was kind of a bad situation for everybody. I called my wife so I could clear my head and get focused, because I told her we're getting ready to go do something that we normally wouldn't do, and guys are going to get hurt today.
Before any officers were sent in, Half was observed in tactical gear with a rifle heading towards the front entrance of the building. Officers say they believe Half was moving behind 2 tents positioned at the front entrance. Officer Darren Hayter told the jury he saw a flash from inside the tent, which he believed was Half firing out towards officers. The officers fired back, eventually killing Half. All officers said he had opportunities for a different outcome.
He would have ended up in jail for a few charges, essentially. He wouldn't have had to have engaged our police officers that day the way that he did. I'd still be here.
Officer Hayter, do you feel that you had any other choice that day?
Absolutely not.
In Billings, Samantha Harrelson, MTN News.
Due to the length of testimony and evidence involved, the inquest continues today. Then the coroner's jury will decide if the officers were justified in their use of force. As a Bighorn County man charged with killing his adopted 4-year-old daughter makes his first court appearance, documents detail the alleged abuse that occurred before her death. 34-year-old Bridger Boyd appeared on charges of deliberate homicide and aggravated assault Wednesday. When Boyd and his wife took the girl to the hospital Monday, staff noticed serious bruising on her body. The parents initially told authorities she had fallen out of bed, but after further questioning, they both admitted Boyd abused the girl when she told her mom no at dinner. Documents state Boyd told the Bighorn County Undersheriff he, quote, lost it, slammed her head into the wall, threw her to the floor, and began hitting the girl with his open hands and fists. The girl died Monday evening. Boyd remains in the Yellowstone County Jail on $1 million bond. Meanwhile, State Auditor and Insurance Commissioner Matt Rosendale says he hopes his latest move will help drive down the cost of prescription drugs. On Wednesday, he filed formal complaints against a pair of multi-billion-dollar pharmacy benefit managers, which he says are not properly licensed in Montana. Rosendale filed against the pharmacy benefit manager for Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Montana and one that had been working for the Montana Health Co-op. He says both drug companies have operated in Montana without a license since 2013. Rosendale told MTN News that if the companies get a state license, they must provide his office details about their transactions and contracts. He says he has received complaints that the companies are preventing consumers from paying lower prices for drugs. For example, he says contracts with pharmacists may prohibit them from telling consumers they can pay lower prices by paying cash rather than using their insurance.
We at my office are interested in trying to drive down the cost of health care, and we certainly can't have pharmacists being prohibited from sharing information with the consumer on how they can save money. And if we can shed more light on these transactions, we're going to be able to help drive the cost of pharmaceuticals down.
One of the companies, Prime Therapeutics, told MTN News that it's working with Rosendale's office to resolve the issue. In lighter news, Symphony in the Park is going to look a lot different this year due to recent rainy weather. The performance will move from Pioneer Park to Amon Park in South Billings. City Park officials made the change for the June 24th event, citing soggy ground at Pioneer Park. The ground can't sustain the heavy equipment needed for the event. If you've purchased reserved parking or wristbands for shade tent seating, those will still be honored. This free concert is this Sunday with the festivities underway from 4 to 9 p.m., including food trucks and family fun events. Q2's own Jay Cohn is going to be there with a cast of Q2 employees. In Laurel, candy can no longer be handed out at the 4th of July parade. City officials say it's become increasingly difficult to get insurance for the event due to liability and safety issues. In the past, there have been issues with parade goers moving further and further into the street to retrieve the candy. This in turn causes floats to slow down and large gaps in the parade. The Laurel Chamber of Commerce is asking parents to keep children out of the streets to enjoy the parade.